Apex's 18th season of Ranked has been nothing short of traumatizing.
What? What? Oh, and I'm watching.
Oh, it was a rat! It was a rat! From matching against Preds and Pros the instant I touched silver, to losing 75 points well over 10 minutes into a match thanks to some 5 to 10 lifelines sitting in ring spamming medkits. Now, before I come off as some negative Nancy, let me tell you up front that I really do despise constant negativity and endless criticism, constructive or not. I've never been a fan of how most Apex content creators will just dog on developers or the game, pretty much regardless of its state. But for me, this was a bit of a breaking point, and while I'm not mad at anybody, and I'm more than excited to play Season 19, I would like to get it out of my system. So here it goes. I spent the entire season, yes, all 90 days, playing against the exact same Pred and Pro 3 stacks. I'll admit that is a minor lie considering that they have to compete some days, but for the most part, yeah, just same exact Pros and Preds. Game after game, day after day, sweaty full sending gamers. That is pretty much all I got. And before anybody gets up in arms saying, oh, you're bad, kid, yes, I'll acknowledge I'm not a Pred level player, I'm not somebody who competes. I play this game a ton, a lot more than I probably should, and I can typically hold my own, but that's not what I am. That's a me problem though. Back to the point. On its own, it's not a terrible thing that I was fighting these players, considering the fact I've hit Masters a handful of times now. The thing that really frustrated me this time around was the fact that it took me 550 games to get to Masters. This is less than normal or equal to what I average, but what made it so insufferable this time was the fact that I was essentially Masters from day one. I didn't have the badge or anything. Technically, I started Silver, but I spent the entirety of 4 divisions facing the exact same competition, regardless of how far ahead of me they were on their climb. In the beginning, it didn't feel all that bad. I was given the rank of Silver, and the person I was fighting may have been given the rank of Gold or Plat. That's not a huge disparity, and our skill was relatively equal. But as the season went on, a problem became apparent. My rank simply was not growing as fast as the other guys. A week in, I'd be 50 games deep, slowly making my way towards Plat, but by then, a lot of these people had hit Diamond, if not Masters or Pred. I'd consider dismissing this as a problem assuming everybody plays the same the entire season, but that's not at all what happens. I don't have any data to back this up, but from my experience, once these people reached their goal rank, they kind of started messing around and I don't know, just going a little too wacky, a little too crazy. Landed on our heads.
Yep.
Pathy almost broke.
I need a Q to reach
I'm one shot. I'm absolute.
Oh, I got PK bug. That's awesome. Chaotic.
I got
PK bug. That was so cool.
I can tell by the lack of brain cells in the play. Yeah, we're better than everyone in the lobby. Let's just get a 40 bomb.
Oh, he died.
Yeah, because they're playing like goofballs.
They just killed themselves to kill us.
I spent a lot of the season solo queuing, and when you solo queue, you have to match the pace of your teammates, right? Well, a funny thing happens when there's this 3 stack of professional players in the same lobby. One team is taking this slow, cautious, safe approach, and the other is just racking up kills after kills. I'm not saying it's wrong to be a better player, I'm not saying it's wrong to have a play style, but I'd be lying if I said it wasn't a little bit annoying getting sent out of Ring 3, or seeing all the squads die before reaching an endgame. You know, all these various things that happen. I want to make it clear that I actually think a lot of these guys are super cool, and I end up consuming a lot of their content, but yeah, I don't know. Being on the receiving end when they're at their goal rank and you're still trying to climb your way up slowly, it's rough. I will say, in Season 17, I did a lot of the same, so perhaps it's just karma. I'm gonna go ahead and back off that topic though. There's only so much I can say about players being better than me. Let's go ahead and talk about what made this season so special. The lifeline meta. So weird just having to guess how many teams are actually alive. Newcastle Flesh. Okay, now we wait for the lifeline, right? Nope.
We wait for the lifeline, right? Was that first lifeline that ran away from us?
Probably.
Probably. That probably lasted till the very.
Dude, that's the tail of the lifeline. Holy. Lifeline 80. Oh. This lifeline meta is one of the most curious and insane things to ever develop, in my opinion. Never in my mind did I think that people would be okay with just sitting in ring crafting medkits over and over and over for hours on end to get an in-game rank. If you're one of these people who did it, tell me why. Whether or not this comes from a fragile ego is besides the point though. Pretty much every single game I played, especially the ones on Olympus, thanks to the tridents I assume, was jam-packed with these ratting lifelines. At first I was under the impression that this was your typical, oh, I have to reset, gotta craft in zone. This is a position I've been in more than a few times, but it's safe to say I was terribly wrong. This had developed into a full-blown strategy. For example, sometimes I was forced to rat my way into an endgame, much like these lifelines, only difference being, I didn't have 20 medkits to live in zone with. I actually had to make an effort to move up and play intelligently. But here's when it gets messed up. Every minute that passes marks a potential spot for me to survive in getting thrown into the ring. Every playable little nook and cranny I could once hide in is being engulfed and there's nothing I can do about it. Really, it's only a matter of time before I have to show myself to the world and inevitably get gunned down. Frequently, after a few minutes of this tense game of hide and seek, we'd reach the final ring. The arena would be filled with an overwhelming silence that almost bordered on eerie. The only part that made this worse was the fact that you could hear the footsteps right next to you. Your hands would immediately get sweaty. You'd get that feeling of needing to pee like when you played hide and seek as a kid, all while listening to your murders march throughout the place. Finally, the realization of what's actually taking place would set in. I am in this ring entirely alone. Like clockwork, the 3-stack would take me out. I'd pull out a tissue and wipe away my tears, and I'd sit there. I knew exactly what was taking place, regardless of whether or not I wanted to admit it. What was once Apex's most wholesome legend now becomes this. There it is. Lifeline 69-420 has died to ring. Going once, going twice. You are the champion. I got second place that game. Let it be known, goddammit. I'll tell you what though, this season wasn't all bad. Despite all the hardships I faced, I'd actually managed to reach Masters. For a minute there, I had pretty much given up, or done the equivalent of silent quitting. I'd show up, but I no longer had a goal of reaching a rank. I no longer had the goal of playing well. I would just play the game because I'm used to playing the game. The vast majority of games were typically pretty okay. I had the comfort of my chat, some fun little movement to practice while hiding in a building, and on average, pretty decent company in the game. For every lifeline I got on my team hiding in zone, I got at least 5 times as many cool and capable teammates. I had never done a whole lot of solo queuing, but I can actually say that I'm glad I gave it a chance this time around. But yeah, shiny purple rank. I got it. Very cool.
Yeah!